Hey everybody, Hugh Kellenberger, Dustin, Dopirak, Andy Graham. Boys, it's Indiana.
Yeah.
That was, in the long, often cruel history of Indiana football, that's one of the cruelest results in terms of what it meant, I think, for a season and for a team that obviously has been needing to get a win for a while. That was difficult.
Right, and in case you didn't see it, Indiana led Iowa for much of the second half. Iowa scores a touchdown to go up 18-13. Indiana proceeds to drive down the field, gets at the 18-yard line. Ben Chappell drops back, throws a pass over the Iowa defense into the back of the end zone to Marlo Belcher, who was pretty much open, pretty much wide open.
Yeah.
And
Balls
DeMarlo dropped it.
Stunningly. Absolutely stunning.
Right. I mean, a tremendous wide receiver, one of the better wide receivers Indiana's ever had. Yeah. And at that moment, didn't come up with the ball.
It was a fourth down play, so there was a sense of desperation even beforehand.
Right.
The crowd's on the edge of its seats, of course, and Chappell makes a heck of a throw. He had to wait because the play call was such that he was going to have to hang in there and let the pattern develop. Yeah. But it worked like a charm. The play was there.
He did. He made a good throw, too, because he had to kind of throw it higher than he's used to throwing because Iowa made a real nice adjustment throughout the game to Ben and
to put the
linebackers deep back, and were tipping a lot of his kind of low, deep passes. But he got that ball right over there, got over them. DeMarlo kind of jumped for it. Maybe he mistimed it. Maybe we can talk about a lot of maybes. But he dropped it. Yeah. And the reality is that it's another cruel, devastating loss for a team that's fighting for a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, one play changes a lot of things in this particular instance.
Yeah, if they'd won this game, they'd be at 5 wins. They'd have 3 games left, so you have 3 chances to get your 1 win to get bowl eligible. It's a win against the number 16 team in the country, which maybe in and of itself, as long as you don't completely collapse the next 3 weeks, maybe saves Bill's job. Maybe gives him an extension or at least a year.
It's in every way it's huge, and you got to feel just. I mean, it's back to Jackie Smith in Super Bowl 13. It's the sickest man in America. Bless Marlo Belcher's heart. And he made some huge plays today, and it just it's one play that it will relive pretty much for the rest of his life. And you have to feel bad for the guy if you have a heart at all. It's just got to be the most devastating feeling.
Yeah, I mean, all subjectivity or objectivity aside, I mean, anybody watching that game has to see that play and say, what a shame for that kid. It's just very difficult.
Right. I mean, it's the cruelty of college football is that, I mean, it's a great game, but it's also a game played by 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, and they're not perfect, and they make mistakes. Yeah. And in some ways that makes it, in my mind at least, it makes it better than the NFL.
Well, and he's a really good player.
It is, but it's also...
he's a really good player, and he's had a really good career here, but, and he'll play well again, too.
This isn't his last game. It's not like theoretically, if he wants to...
No, but compounding it was the last home game for a lot of the seniors, which only adds maybe to DeMarlo's heartbreaker of the situation. It's not the second week of the season. No. It's, you're trying to get bowl eligible. It's the last home game for all the seniors. Your coach is on the hot seat.
Pressure is kind of turning out.
Right. It was so many different things that could have changed.
It really gets the fan base back on board, too. I mean, there's so many things that riding on that play.
Right. We saw a really fiery Bill Lynch. Easily the fieriest Bill Lynch we have seen since last year's Iowa game. Maybe the most passionate we've seen in 4 years.
And not only that, I mean, it continued. The difference today, I thought, was usually even when he's fiery on the sidelines, even when he's throwing gum, even when he's being ridiculous, he doesn't bring it into the press room. And I don't want to say he did to the degree that some people would, but we saw more fire out of Bill than we usually do. There was more carryover 20 minutes, half hour later, or whatever it was by the time he got in there than we've probably maybe ever seen. I mean, he wasn't.
No, that was a Bill I've not seen in 3 seasons.
He kept it in control. I mean, you knew that he wanted to yell at us. That there was part of him that wanted to,
he was carrying a week of what's going to happen coverage with him. Right. He was carrying a week of this team is dead with him. Yeah. There was a lot of baggage that he came to this game with, and he carried it all to the press room.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, he wasn't he kept it classy. It wasn't like he started yelling at us for,
no.
There was a couple insinuations about everyone wrote this team off and stuff like that. But he didn't take it to the point that he made it personal. Right. But still, it was there. There was more fire to him, and he was making a point. And they, the team noticed it. I think everybody noticed it. That he was out there for every call. He was fighting for every call, and he was getting after it. He made a point. I'm fighting for them today.
Well, and I think there certainly he was coming into the press room after having exited what had to be a very emotional locker room.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it too. I think that his emotions, I'm sure, were extremely acute in the locker room as he was trying to comfort and encourage a team that needed him at that point. Right. And so I think it's not the kind of thing where you're going to be able to rein that in emotionally right away just because you walk into a press room.
No, but Bill even usually does better than that. I don't say better because I don't look at this as bad at all.
Right. Usually his public persona is very removed.
Yes.
Which in some ways I think infuriates fans because they are so passionate themselves.
Right.
And
they want to see that.
They want to see that in the leader of the program.
Right. When they see video from post-game press conferences, when they hear audio, when they even just see quotes in the paper, they want to see a little bit more fire. And there was a little bit more of that today.
Right. They don't want to hear they made more plays than we did.
Yeah. I think even as a reporter, you go in expecting him to still be carrying it, and we're almost surprised most days when he doesn't. And we almost have to drag it out of him to be like, Bill, that's got to hurt, doesn't it? That was really, and a lot of times he said, well, yep, we'll be back next week. But today, and he was still saying that, but he was making a point that he was more just kind of emotional today. And I guess beyond all that, there were some things you saw from this team today that, you hadn't seen before.
The red zone defense was good.
The Iowa's red zone offense was bad.
Yeah. How many touchdowns ended up in the back of the end zone?
Yeah. But a couple times he was flushed out and forced to do something.
He did. There were also a couple of those should have been touchdowns.
Sure.
Well, but there's just fewer missed assignments, fewer missed tackles. They're just clearly, solidifying. The one inexplicable play defensively was the long touchdown play, where apparently it was a double move, and apparently they made a really good pump fake.
Evans also said that the free safety came in because there was a 12-yard hitch.
There was a 12-yard hitch on the tight end.
Regardless, a deep middle shouldn't be that open in that kind of situation.
I found it odd that Mitchell Evans said the free safety as opposed to, isn't he the free safety? I don't know. He's not not that he would throw it on somebody else.
I'm not even sure it was there because Donnell Jones.
Or is Donnell the free safety?
Donnell was the free safety.
Yeah,
Mitch is technically the strong safety.
Earlier. I'm not even sure who was in at that point.
I think Donnell.
Did he come back?
I think
because he was looked like a foot problem or something.
Maybe.
Indiana once again, the last offensive drive without Tandon Doss, Andrew McDonald, the left tackle, didn't play all day.
Yeah.
Or should be in the second half. And so that another thing, if you're trying to find something to hang your hat on. In terms of Indiana and their play in the game, against a very good defensive front, they hung in there pretty well with Justin Pagan playing left tackle.
No, there was a ton of things you come out if you're Indiana. You feel good about everything. More or less, you feel good about everything but two plays. You feel good about everything but the 58-yard touchdown pass and the drop in the end zone and literally it's. One play, and it's unfortunate it goes this way, but one play either saves him, or probably if he does catch that pass, it probably almost gives him too much credit. But if he drops it, it kind of takes so much of it away. But that's all it was literally one play at the end. The ball's in the air, and
we got a minute left. Really quickly, how does this team respond 7 days from now in Madison?
They show up, and
it's a very tough.
Yeah,
place to play.
I think they show up. I think this, in a way, this looks more like last year's team in terms of the fight they showed today, and I think they'll come out and play hard against Wisconsin. Is it? It's progress, but is it enough?
Right.
I don't know.
It's progress in this season. Is it enough progress from season?
That's something that I think still at the end of the day, the way it looks is you're gonna, you'll know the answer after the Purdue game.
Yeah, they'll have a chance to bring it and a chance to respond for 3 more weeks, not just next week. Next week's a very tall order. It's a very good team, but I think Dustin put it the right way. They'll show up.
All right.
I think they'll get beat, but they'll show up.
They'll show up. Yeah, why not? Sure. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.